Hello, everyone. This is going to be a little long-winded because of the amount of background context, but I'll try to keep it as precise as possible. To summarize what I said in the original post linked above, my GF's 22. Mother, 45, hijacked Christmas Day as her own house party and ended up isolating us upstairs in our own house because of how uncomfortable we felt with all the people. She had promised us a Christmas Day lunch and dinner with only a couple of her friends joining us, which was fair as my best friend joined us as well with her permission. But it all ended up in a typical food-style party with around 15-20 of her friends around that none of us knew. Her family who was in the house, so me, 20, my GF's sister, 26, GF's other sister, 24, and GF's cousin, 34, spent the day debating on how to confront her about it. So, to update, when GF's mother's party was done, all 5 of us mentioned above sat her down and attempted to start a calm conversation to explain to her why what she did was wrong and hurt all of us simultaneously. My girlfriend got only one sentence out before her mother started getting defensive, trying to tell us all that we had actually agreed to her organizing the party and inviting this many people, chalking it up to all 5 of us collectively misunderstanding her. I'll spare you unnecessary details, but we basically got into a fight where the 5 of us attempted to talk to her calmly, and she only responded with yelling and refusal to hear our side of things and admit mistake. We never reached a conclusion because my GF's mother only provided a half-assed apology for the sake of ending the argument. We all then went upstairs and decided to call it a day because we were all emotionally exhausted. It's now 5 days later and things have escalated beyond my anticipation. GF's mother pretended to be all right for maybe a day, bringing up the fight now and then to random people in an attempt to get her point across that she was actually just trying to do a good thing. Yesterday, however, she knocks on mine and my girlfriend's door and says she needs to talk with my girlfriend. She goes to talk, but the moment the conversation begins, GF's mother is already raising her voice. Mind you, I don't speak their native language perfectly, so I did not understand much of the argument through 2 closed doors. But my GF explained to me the overall points. For one, GF's mother has apparently felt as though she is no longer a part of the home because of certain people. Secondly, she feels as though she gets no respect as the adult of the house. All of us are adults. And finally, she feels as though my GF has changed in a bad way because of my influence on her and her views. All of this communicated through yelling on her side and by cutting off my GF if she tried to speak. To top it all off, just an hour after this fight, GF's mother packed a bag, dressed up her son, 12, heavily autistic, proceeded to scream at everyone in the living room about how she feels like she's living with strangers and leaves. She has not yet been back, but has contacted GF's sister, 26, by message and GF's cousin on call to vent out her thoughts once again through yelling her same points. All of us are exhausted and can't deal with this fight any longer. Now for the background context. There are 6 of us living in the house. Me, GFV, GF's oldest sister, D, GF's younger brother, A, GF's mother, S, GF's cousin, T. S provides the rent for the house through benefits but is currently unemployed. Me and D are the only ones employed full-time, and we most often pay for all the bills and buy the groceries. Our living arrangement is difficult because we're in a small house, but we make do because we all respect each other's space and most of us get along. The reason I moved in with my GF's entire family was because I fell out very suddenly with my toxic, narcissistic father a few months ago, and she and her entire family took me in with open arms. This emotional state in the last couple months has been extremely difficult to understand and deal with. She has become short-tempered and extremely sensitive to absolutely everything, to the point where just one glance in her direction can set her off into some sort of spiral. She often starts fight over petty topics and continuously berates my GF specifically for being disrespectful of her as a person and mother. And while my GF admits that she has her moments of anger where she says things she regrets in arguments, she in fact looks up to her mother and respects her endlessly for everything she's done. We have all tried to be understanding with S. However, because she has communicated she's experiencing premenopausal symptoms, but she has crossed many lines in her conversations with us all that none of us have wanted to tolerate or try to understand. S tends to self-victimize often, and she makes it a point to show us just how attacked she feels for weeks on end, or until someone apologizes regardless of fault. She also pulls the mother card quite often, even on me, stating that in her generation, parents were respected even when they didn't give children their respect. I have several problems with this, including the fact that I'm not her child, and she can't treat me like one, that she can't treat her adult children like toddlers, and that it is not about generational respect, but empathy and coexistence in the house we share. It also claims that I personally have brainwashed her daughter into treating her poorly by speaking bad about her, which is simply not true. This woman took me in at my lowest point, and I will always have a certain degree of respect for her because of her kindness. But that doesn't give her a pass in talking about me like a nuisance and a guest when I pay for household expenses. I know my place in the house as a resident and a helper for the bills, and she doesn't treat me like one. S has become severely entitled, and all of us in the house agree that this change was abrupt and unprompted. We have all been feeling like she's treating us like trash, and she gets away with it by crying, screaming, and spinning the situation. None of us know how to handle it anymore because we've tried talking, tried meditating, and even bending over backwards to make this house comfortable for her again, but nothing seems to work. She's moving out in a few months, so me and Dee agree it's now just a waiting game where we have to pretend to coexist, but I'm not sure that my GF and S will manage to keep that civil for so long. Edit. Some people seem to be misunderstanding. Me and DGF's oldest sister are the currently full-time employed people in the house. My GF and her cousin were also employed until recently, but had to leave for their respective personal reasons. GF's cousin is moving out tomorrow. Other than S, nobody that is currently living in this house unemployed is mooching off of me or D. A few days ago, my family met at my great-grandparents' house for a family Christmas celebration. My great-aunt, grandma's sister, was there with her grandson, his wife, and their child. This particular aunt is always causing drama in the family. We'll call her R. My dad took me to get my septum pierced for my 18th birthday early in 2023, so I've had it pierced for a while. I've only had the plain silver horseshoe I got back when it was first pierced for a while, but I recently got a new horseshoe piercing decorated with a bee on one end and a honeycomb on the other. It stands out more than the other one, so I guess she finally noticed it during our celebration. I was sitting on the stairs with my brother, as always. R was sitting on the floor across from the stairs with her great-granddaughter S and two of my younger cousins. She stared at me for a while, which I assumed was because of my hair because she's never liked the fact that I shaved the sides and got an undercut. Instead, she asked me if I had my septum pierced. I said I did, and she simply asked, "Why?" Before I could even answer her, the answer would have been something along the lines of because I wanted to. She goes, they say that a woman gets her septum pierced so her husband can attach her to a leash and drag her around by it. She actually said that in front of the three younger girls in the room. My aunt and uncle, who were sitting on the couch off to my left, were shocked. Since none of us wanted to cause a scene, we kind of just laughed it off. I was a bit snappy and said, "Well, mine is a horseshoe, not a ring, so it doesn't matter." The topic was dropped for a while. Later, after we all ate lunch, R cornered me by the bathroom after I washed my hands and demanded I take the piercing out because I was being a bad influence for poor S. S was too busy playing around in her new princess dress to notice anything anyone else was doing, so that was bull. I'm a very anxious person normally, but this witch of a lady has had something against me and my dad basically my entire life, so I was sick of her crap. I told her to back off and to stop judging me and my decisions when she screwed up her own marriage so much that her ex doesn't like being referred to as her ex because it connects him to her. She gave me so many nasty looks the rest of the afternoon, but I didn't care. I'm already planning on getting more nose piercings, and her stupid ideals can't stop me. I am homeless. I don't do drugs, drink, or cause problems for anyone. I am working my butt off to get out of this situation. Because of that, the library is a vital resource for me. It's a place I go almost every day to use Wi-Fi, put resumes out, charge my phone and battery, and use the restroom in relative peace and comfort. The staff at the library are fantastic. They provide a safe, warm place with no social barriers. Everyone is welcome at the library. I've never had an issue with the library staff. In fact, the only issue before this was with a patron, and even that wasn't too bad. Well, that was until today. I don't know if you can refer to the security at the library as library staff. I believe they are outside contractors, but today, while minding my own business, the security took issue with me. Now it is a Sunday. The library hours are a bit different, 1:30 p.m. until 5 p.m., and I arrived at opening exactly. My phone was super dead, and I went where I always go, a desk in the corner of the silent section. I sat down, plugged my phone and battery in, and began to charge, put resumes out, and look for any pickup job on Kijiji. It's something I have to do. I'm getting desperate. I was at the back doing my thing for about an hour. It's Sunday, so the library is basically dead empty. There's like a total of 4 patrons, one of whom I know. He's an old guy, also homeless, a really decent man. I was sitting at my desk and I see the security guard look at me, then start to walk towards me. He starts to talk to me, and I thought he was just bored and trying to start a friendly conversation. I was wrong. He started very simply, ask my name. I said, it's Bobby. It's Robert or Rob, but I don't give my name out that easily. Asked how it's going, what I'm up to today. I told him, the usual need the internet, look for work, charge, have some quiet time. That's when things got weird. He asked me, don't you have anywhere else to be? Where do you live? Things like that. It was a very unusual thing for a library security guard to ask, especially to someone just minding their own business and sitting quietly. I told him, that's all personal information, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to tell you, and tried to excuse myself out of the conversation to get back to what I was doing. I turned back to my phone and tried to get back to what I was doing. Unfortunately, I think I offended the security guard because he got mad. He told me that he's going to need to see my identification. I asked why. I swear this guy had a few screws loose. He actually said he's the building security. He protects the library. Remember, I am really calm. I'm still even sitting down at the desk. I smirked at him and said, man, you're a security guard at the library. Why are you hassling me? Like, what do you think? Do you think I'm going to steal a book? Use the pages to make a sandwich? It's a library. Books are free. I even have a library card. And yeah, pretty sure that made him burst a blood vessel because he was pissed. He told me to hand over my identification right now or get out. I said, look, I have done nothing wrong until a few minutes ago. I was just chilling here, minding my own business, not saying a word until you came stomping over. Now he's getting loud, raising his voice saying, I need your identification or I'm calling the police. Thankfully, the librarian working the desk could hear what was going on and came over. I know the librarian. I see her every day. We have talked a lot. She's a really nice woman. We are on friendly terms. She asked what's going on, and the security says he has to give me his ID or get out. Now remember, I'm still sitting down, calm, cool as a cucumber, but he was basically foaming at the mouth. She asked the guard, why do you need that? What happened? He said, because he asked me and I refused. I said, hey man, I was just sitting here quiet, doing my thing. I don't want any part of this. To the librarian's credit, she's a really nice person. She asked what happened, why he came over. He said he wanted to check because he looked suspicious. She said, it's not your job. Why are you bothering guests? Then told him to come with her. They disappeared into one of the staff. Only doors. And that was it. She came out a few minutes later and said she's sorry. I'm still sitting in the library as I type this out. The security is now sitting in a chair at the entrance every so often. I look over to see him just glaring at me. I have no idea why or how this happened. I believe that guy has some sort of mental issue going from 0 to 100 real fast. The last time I posted on this sub was about the time I was with my supervisor, and I got mistaken for a ferry worker. This time, however, the I don't work here lady story involves a fan at the stadium getting mistaken as an employee during the season. Since the season is over, I felt this was a good time to post this story. I'm manning my stadium like the good employee I am, because I enjoy my job and get to talk sports with people and what to do while at the stadium. A fan with, I believe, wearing a sweater vest in a shade of blue. I ask him if he has questions, but he has none for me, so I go back to my post a mere 3 steps away. I shall name him for story's sake, Sweater Vest Fan. While watching my surroundings, I see other fans come up. Thinking they want my attention, I go to stand up, only for them to ask the Sweater Vest Fan. They asked him questions and he stated, I don't work here. They apologized, and before I get to go to them, they took off looking for another employee. I think that is odd. Normally the fans find me easily. This repeats until finally, I feel bad for the Sweater Vest Fan and I go to intervene. It has been the fourth time by this point he has been asked if he works at the stadium or has questions about it. He states once again he is not an employee, and I go up, finally catching the other fans this time and say, he doesn't work here, but I do. How can I help you? The fans finally take a moment and realize that I am indeed an employee, as it is stated obviously by my uniform, which has staff written on the back, and I am wearing a badge with my photo and legal name. They chuckle and say, oh, I guess I should be looking for employees dressed like you then. I then help them out with their questions and save Sweater Vest Fan. He then proceeds to leave after leaving the area where I am stationed. My belief is that Sweater Vest Fan got confused for an employee because some of the higher-ranking staff members who oversee the stadium dressed a bit more semi-professionally than the employees, but wear badges as well. Plus, they tend to go to locations with a lot of traffic flow as a customer service. Sweater Vest Fan looked too professionally dressed to be a sports fan. It's a bit wholesome, I don't work here, lady, with no one demanding to be fired or seeing a manager. Happy 2024. Guys, I don't know how you start the new year, but mine started with something straight from this sub. Last Wednesday, I went for some shopping. We needed groceries and my mother needed a new heater. I, regretfully, decided to kill two birds with one stone and went to a big store that has both groceries and stuff for the house, like heaters, TVS, BBQs, etc. I was in black sweatpants and red blouse. The employees are wearing blue trousers with blue shirts with yellow letters on them. I grabbed a cart and headed to the grocery section first, where I was asked 3 different times if I worked there. All were very respectful and just asking for help, which in 2 out of 3 cases I could provide. Finishing my groceries, I went to the part of the store that dealt with the other things I mentioned. That's where I had the encounter that led to this post. I was browsing the available heaters with my grocery ladder cart next to me when an older guy came to me with a pack of AA batteries. BG onwards from Battery Guy. BG. Do these work on a phone? He asked, showing me the batteries. Me. Probably not. You'll need rechargeable batteries for that. BG. Okay, go get me some. I'll be right here. Me. Nope. EG. Annoyed. Why? Me. Because, I don't know where the batteries are in B. Even if I did, I wouldn't fetch them for you. BG. That's not a proper way to talk to a paying customer. Me. Indeed. BG. And not knowing where is something on your store. Me. My store? BG is preposterous. Actual translation of the word he used. I will complain about it to management. Me. Okay, you do you. And grabbing my cart, I walked away. For the next 5 minutes, he followed me around the store, red on the face and complaining about the unruly employee until an actual employee stopped him and explained to him that I was a shopper and not an employee, which apparently did not compute in his brain because last time I saw him was confused as heck.